Hey, good morning, everybody. Crafting Journey here. Welcome back to the channel. There is a new trial starting today. I'm trying to get the gist of it so I can tell you all about it. And day 5 of Juan David Ortiz's Border Patrol serial killer trial. Also, it's Murdoch Monday. Any updates in that? Stay tuned. Good morning, everybody. Crafting Journey here, that journey chick over on Instagram. And I'm also known as The Leftovers on my second YouTube channel. The link to that is down in the description. Welcome to another episode of Crafting and Crime Daily. Yes, mornings are not magical, says Tinkerbell. I love this cup. I got my coffee warmer over here. We're back to the Dunkin' Donut coffee. Yum. I did miss it. I really did. So, I've got my watercolors out. I haven't had them out in ages. So, this is the book that one of the book, I've purchased a lot of books. There's another book that's out now that I want. I got to put that on my wish list. This is my birthday month. I have a wish list down in the description if you guys are considering sending birthday, Christmas, whatever. There's a wish list down there. Take a look. Anyway, so this is like all these different flowers, and I've done a lot of them. But for Christmas, I want to do these. And I want to put, this wreath with the mistletoe. So I want to do that on a watercolor card, but I like to practice first, because I haven't had these watercolors out in a long, long time. Now, this is something I crocheted. It's been a couple of years now. It's actually a hooded scarf. Look at that. How cool is that? See? Ooh. If it's like snowing outside and you want a hood. If not, you just kind of put it down like that and wear it. I love it. And it was super easy to make. Beautiful, beautiful yarn. Okay. I am getting ready to start crocheting as soon as I get the kits in. I've ordered a couple of kits. My sister ordered them for me. For dog hoodies. I'm going to make the dogs some hoodies. Just what they need, right? Okay, let's get the watercolors out. Let's talk about Murdoch Monday. Yes. And you're like, if you're new to the channel, you're like, what the heck is Murdoch Monday? Murdoch is a family in South Carolina that is in huge trouble. Well, most of them are dead now. Alex Murdoch is in jail. He's getting ready for trial in January for the murders of his wife, Maggie, and son, Paul. Now, years ago, I think back in 2019, I might have the dates wrong because I'm trying to do it off the top of my head. His son, Paul, was in a boating accident. He was the driver of the boat. One of the women in the boat, young female, was ejected from the boat and passed away. She was found like 3 days later. And so Paul had been charged with drunk driving of the boat, and his death, his murder, was just like a few days before he was supposed to go to trial on this thing or go to court for a hearing or, anyway. Super, super sad case. So anyway, Alex, one of the things he's been charged with is obstruction of justice because he's a lawyer, now been disbarred. His father was a lawyer, grandpa's a lawyer, great-grandpa is a whole family of lawyers. And he is charged now with obstruction of justice because he went to the hospital after this boating accident and tried to get people to either not say anything or say someone else was the driver, and not his son. Just ridiculous, I tell you. I always have to be quiet when I'm watercolor painting. I will show you this afterwards. I don't know if that's pink or red there. Anyway, so the more people dig into this, the more we're finding out that he was into drugs. He was I mean, he had a whole criminal enterprise. He's charged with all these counts of fraud, where we found out he was taking these huge wrongful death cases, settling them, and then stealing the money. Yeah. So the trial for the murders of his wife and son are coming up here in January. Now, whether that actually goes to trial in January, I don't know. More recently, just prior to Thanksgiving, Russell Lafitte, who is the head of Palmetto State Bank, who was complicit in this scheme to steal these clients' money, he would be set up as the conservator of these estates for the person that had died. And in order for anybody that was supposed to get money, entitled to money under these settlements, was supposed to go through Russell Lafitte. And he was using the money to pay back other people where they'd loan them. It was crazy, just crazy. But he was convicted in federal court of all these counts of, wire fraud, bank fraud. Yeah. Conspiracy. He is appealing. He has filed an appeal. Those convictions came in right before Thanksgiving, and the judge, I did describe this, the judge had said, they had deliberated for like 10 hours. They come back, two of the jurors, one said, A, I feel like I'm being pressured to reach a decision, and B, I need to take my medicine, and which means I got to go home and get it. And so then there was another juror at the same time who was saying, I'm suffering from anxiety. And the judge described that, the woman could hardly talk. She was so anxious after having sat there all day. So he makes a decision to excuse these two jurors and replace them with the alternates. They go back into the jury room with the alternates, and an hour later come out with convictions on everything. So that is the basis for the appeal, that the judge should not have excused these two people and replaced them with alternates. I don't know if that's going to fly, because I think the results would have been the same. The state attorney put on a brilliant case, lots of evidence, just a huge boatload of evidence against Russell Lafitte. I think the result, no matter what jury you put this in front of it, the result's going to be the same. He's going to get convicted on everything. So back to Alex Murdoch. His lawyers filed a motion for change of venue. No, I'm wrong. His lawyers filed a motion for him to be unshackled during the trial. They said that if the jury sees their client, Alex Murdoch, in shackles during the trial, there's going to be a presumption that he's guilty. And they don't want the jury to have this presumption. Now, I don't know if that's what the judge is going to rule on that. Who knows? Who knows? But interesting nonetheless. This is more pink than red. I think, yeah. I'm just not liking this. I'm going to play around with a different red, I think, here. See if it's any better. This looks more pink. Oh, whew, that's much better. Oh, way more vibrant. Okay, we're going to go with that red, I think. Much better. So that's the Murdoch saga. I don't even know if this is going to really, truly go to trial in January, because this just seems awfully quick for a trial. But, it could. Who knows? But I'll be there when it does. So let's talk about Juan David Ortiz, the Border Patrol serial killer, day 5, which was Friday. I was so confused about the timeline of these murders. So I had to do a little research on this, because his confession, it was a 10-hour confession. Well, a 10-hour interrogation. The confession comes during the last 30 minutes of course the confession is going to be at the end, because, there's not anything to do after the confession. But anyway, it took them 9.5 hours to get to this confession. So he finally starts off by saying, talking about Erica, that Erica Pena is a streetwalker that he picked up on September 15th. Now, let me just back up. First, the police officers know that on September 3rd, they know Melissa Ramirez is killed. And then we know that on September 13th, Claudine, what's her name? Claudine. I can't read my own writing. Claudine Loera is found. She's not dead when she's found. They take her to the hospital. She's off the highway. They take her to the hospital where she later passes away. Then September 13th, no, that's September 13th, Claudine. They find Claudine. Then September 15th is the day that one David Ortiz picks up Erica Pena. So he picks her up, streetwalker, takes her to his house. The whole thing ensues. She ends up, running away from him. It's a long story. I've covered in other episodes. She ends up getting away from him after he points a gun at her. She gets away. She goes to a state trooper. The trooper gets her in touch with the investigating officers. They get her story. Now they put out a be on the lookout, and they're all out September 15th that night. They're looking for him. What is he doing while they are looking for him? Oh my God. He picks up Grisella, that's a long name, Grisella Alicia Hernandez Cantu. That's a mouthful. He picks her up and he starts driving out of town with her up this highway, 35, and he's driving and he tells her, I'm the one that committed these murders. I'm the one that did it, and I'm going to kill myself. Stops under an overpass and tells her to get out of the car. So she gets out of the car, and he says, you can either go that way to Laredo, or you can go that way to San Antonio. It's your choice. So she's like, listen, and he's saying he's going to kill himself. She's like, listen, God loves you. Don't hurt yourself. And she's pleading with him, and he's like, no, it's too late. Just start walking. And so she starts walking away, and then she turns around and she comes back, and he's like, what are you doing? You just don't get this. And he shoots her, and he leaves. So what do you think he does then? He goes and picks up another woman. Third one for the night, Janelle Ortiz, no relation. Picks up Janelle Ortiz. And, oh my God, it's crazy. Not sure I like this color either. Picks up Janelle Ortiz, then he drives out of town with her. And she's like, oh my God, you're the one, aren't you? And he's like, yep, it's me. So he pulls off the highway, tells her to get out. There's a gravel mound, a mound of gravel there. They walk behind this mound of gravel, and he shoots her. She didn't put up a fight. No. It's like she was resigned to it. Very weird. In any case, he ends her life. Then he goes to the gas station to use the bathroom. He goes to the gas station, uses the bathroom, and that's where now the troopers have seen him pull into this gas station because they put the bolo out to be on the lookout for this guy. They see him. They get out their weapons. He walks out of the gas station. They have this encounter. He runs. He's hiding. During this time that they're looking for him in this parking garage, the lead investigator gets notified of one of the women that he killed that evening has been found under an overpass. So during this whole interrogation, so now they know about the 3 women. They don't know about the 4th one. So when he actually gets to his confession that night, he's talking about a 4th body. And they're like, he tells the officers exactly where they can find this body. So they send someone out, and lo and behold, yep, there's the body right behind this gravel mound where he said it was. He told the investigators that he killed these women because they were not good people, and he thought that he was trying to help by cleaning up the streets. Crazy. He's like, if you guys aren't going to do it, I was going to help you. And then they go out and they buy him a Whataburger and some fries because, you know, he's been sitting there since 2:30 in the morning. He's tired, hungry. I was joking the other day, and I was like, oh, he had a rough evening, you know, with the whole Erica thing and hiding in the parking garage. Oh, I didn't know he did 2 other murders that night. Oh my God. I'm trying to pick the right green here. I still haven't gotten to it. So I got to figure out a good color green for this leaf. Actually, I don't even like that brush. Let me use a different brush. I think this one's better here. Okay. So Friday, the defense, you know, this is the lead investigator. Finally, the state wraps him up and says, you know, no further questions. The defense is on cross-examination. And the defense says, you know, you basically, he was accusing this lead investigator of coercing his client into giving this confession. You said you'd help him out with his wife. You said you'd get pictures of his family for him. You even told him that the state attorney was outside, the lead prosecutor, the one that's prosecuting this case, the elected state official, is outside, and I can talk to him for you. And the lead investigator is like, I was just stating a fact. I want, you know, no coercion. I don't agree with you. No, we weren't coercing him. Okay. So try a different green. Let's try this one. Oh no, that's blue. We don't want that one. So the lead investigator, he held his own. I was very, you know, he's like, you started out the interview process with potato chips and you end up giving him a Whataburger. You told him that you know, his wife, he was going to go to prison and his wife would need to get benefits and maybe you could help him out getting the benefits for his wife and all this coercion. And the investigator's like, no, I don't see it that way. I don't agree with you. So in any case, he also was making a big deal out of the Fifth Amendment, his right to remain silent. He says, you know, at the beginning of this, when you sat down with my client and asked him if he wanted to talk, he said no. And he refused to sign the Miranda rights paper. Why did you continue to interrogate him? He's like, it was an interview. Wasn't an interrogation. It was an interview. And he could have stopped it at any time. All he had to do was say he wanted an attorney. And he's like, he told you no. No means no. I don't want to talk. Why did you keep talking? So he's setting up for some appeals here. I can see this. I'm sure these were the subject matter of pretrial motions that he got ruled against on. But he's setting up an appeal. You know, 1 for coercion, 2 for, you know, the Miranda rights things, because they didn't read him his Miranda rights until he gets into that room. And 3, he said, no, I don't want to talk to you. So they continue to talk to him for 10 hours and get a confession out of him. Now, I think, how do you get past the fact that he knew where this 4th body was and led them right to it? Just said, here's where it is. Here's where you're going to find the body. They find the body. How is that a false confession? Oh my God. This is this guy's only chance is appeals. You know, maybe he'll get a new trial. You know, where people don't get to watch 10 hours of interrogation. I don't know, but I don't see this guy I don't see him, first of all, getting a not guilty verdict. There's no way. There is no possible way. Yeah. Um, I don't, yeah. He confessed. And to a murder they didn't even know about. You know, maybe coercion on the three, but now he's naming a fourth that they didn't even know about. Okay. All right. Well, I'm digressing here. Okay. On to the next one. There is a new trial. Guess what? Another police officer. Fort Worth. We're going to go to Texas again. We're staying in Texas. Yes. Juan David Ortiz, Texas. This one is in Tarrant County, Texas. Fort Worth police officer Aaron Dean is on trial for the murder of, I don't want to butcher this name, Atiqua Jefferson. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing it correctly. Now, I have to point out, as everyone has, white police officer, black victim, because that's going to be an issue, of course. So I tune in this morning there and I hear the reading of the indictment. Well, first, before we even get to that, there's a change of venue motion. Defense counsel moved for a change of venue based on the voir dire that they had last week. Voir dire is where they're picking the jury. So apparently when they were trying to pick the jury, the defense said out of 109 potential jurors, on one of the panels, because they had to bring up multiple panels, when he asked how many have heard about this case, all 109 raised their hands. So he was saying, pretrial publicity, and I'm thinking, honey, you're on YouTube now. The cat's out of the bag. Forget change of venue. And the judge agreed. No. Denied. I'm not changing venue. Well, I've got a jury waiting to come out here. So he brings the jury out, and then we get to hear the reading of the indictment. On October 12th, 2019, it's alleged that former police officer Aaron Dean intentionally killed Atiqua Jefferson with a firearm. Now, apparently the entire thing is on body cam. The jury's going to see it over and over and over again. And if I can get clips of it, I'll bring it to you. But on October 12th at 2:33 a.m., this is when it takes place. Now, everything starts on October 11th. So I listened to the state's opening statement, most of it, not the whole thing. But just a little background. Atiqua, what is her name? Why am I calling her? I can't say it. Atiqua. I'm going to say Atiqua because I can't pronounce this name. She's 28 years old. She graduated with a degree in biology. She had plans to become a doctor. However, her mom, Yolanda, was very sick with a heart condition. And so she moved, and her mom was trying to raise her niece or her nephew, Zion, who was 8 years old. She has 3 sisters. Now, I don't know what the backstory is on Zion, but so she moves back home with her mom, Yolanda, to help her mom with her mom's illness and to help her raise Zion. And one of her hobbies was playing video games. Yay! Go Antigua. So she's spending the day with Zion because mom's in the hospital, and she's outside during the day on October 11th, and she's teaching him how to mow the lawn, and they leave the lawnmower out there. So then they go in the house to make dinner, and they burn their hamburgers. So they decided they had, because their house was filled with smoke. So they open the windows. I've done this. They open the doors, and then they go play video games. Zion actually goes to bed. She's sitting up playing video games, and then at 2 something in the morning, Zion gets up and he's like, "Oh, I want to play too." So they're sitting there playing video games. I'd love to know what game, but I don't know. Anyway, meanwhile, this neighbor, Frank Smith, what was his name? Hold on. I'll tell you. I know the name. James Smith. I was close. James Smith, who, really nice neighbor, owns several of the homes in this neighborhood. he's outside and he sees the doors open and he's like, oh, that doesn't look right. He knows that the cars are all in the driveway, but he knows this woman's home alone with Zion, and he's like, oh, something's going on here. So he calls the non-emergency number and tells him, like, can you just go over there and check because the doors are open? And so Officer Dean responds with his partner, and they park down the street, they get their flashlights out, and they're sneaking around this house. Meanwhile, inside the house, Atikwa hears a noise, and she's like, oh my God, what is that noise? So she grabs her gun, and she's, hearing this noise. And the officers are coming around and they see her through a window with the gun. And Officer Dean says, put your hands up, get your hands up, boom. Like it was that fast. Put your hands up, get your hands up, boom. Like she didn't even have time to react when he shoots her through the window, straight into her heart. And while she's laying there on the floor dying, the partner says, we got to get in there. We got to get in there. He's just like frozen. And I didn't get to see the video yet. I'm curious to see how this really went down. I want to see it for myself. So he runs, they go in the house. At no time does Officer Dean say anything else or react. He doesn't start CPR. He doesn't do anything to assist her. No. Like, how sad is that? I'm not painting right now, am I? All right. I said I would pick a green. Let's try this green. Okay. Nope. Don't like it. But I gotta get a better green. This has too much blue in it. Yep. Too much blue. Not enough water. That's kind of like half wet on wet. Yeah, very pretty, but not the green that I'm going for. Let me try this green here. Okay, so you guys want me to bring back this day in history, and I've got a good one for you. On this day in 1945, a whole flight of aircraft, naval aircraft, leave Fort Lauderdale Airport, and they go out for a routine training mission off the coast of Florida. And they're doing their mission and they've reached their objective. Now, these were Navy Avenger torpedo bombers. There were 5 of them in this flight. It was called Flight 19. Torpedo bombers. Holy moly. So they go out, and after they achieved their objective, they were supposed to fly 67 miles east and then turn north 73 miles for a total of 120 miles. Well, guess what? No one ever sees them again. After that, they were supposed to return to the Naval Air Station. And they never get back. That is horrible. Oh my God. I just keep doing worse and worse with these greens. That's not the green we want. Holy moly. Anyway, so they get out, so 2 hours into the mission, the flight squadron leader, he notifies, air traffic. He says, listen, the compasses have failed. They're not working. And then the other aircraft were having similar issues as well. And then at 6:20 p.m., there's like a very, very distorted radio transmission from the squadron leader saying he's calling for his other men to ditch their aircraft because they don't have any more fuel. But they're never found. So they send out, the land radar stations identified where they thought these aircrafts had been. And they, somewhere north of Bahamas and off the east coast of Florida. So at 7:27 p.m. that night, a little over an hour after that last transmission by the squad leader, they sent out a rescue aircraft with 13 men on board. This rescue aircraft. And the rescue aircraft disappears, never seen again. Later at 7:50 that night, a tanker that was cruising off the coast of Florida calls in and says, "Listen, we just saw this huge explosion." So they send they send out hundreds of aircraft, ships. They never find any of the 27 men or any of the 6 aircraft. And that is how we got the origination of the Bermuda Triangle legend. This is what the area where they disappeared is now known as the Bermuda Triangle. How interesting is that? I'm sure there's a lot of stories, history stories out there that, cover this. I'd be curious to watch it, because how did they just disappear? I don't know. Like my gnomes. Look, I put my Christmas gnomes out. Yep. These were given to me by a subscriber. This one, all of them. This one I bought. This is my Advent gnome. So, and it ends on the 25th. Last year we did 25 days of giving. Yeah. It was kind of cool. I haven't planned anything like that this year. Anyway, I'm going to work on practicing my watercolor today so I can get the cards done. I got to get a whole bunch of items to the post office for my resale business. And I will see you tomorrow in Crafting and Crime Daily. Have a wonderful day, everybody. I'll update you on day 6 of the Ortiz case and day 1 of the trial of Aaron Dean. Take care, everybody.